and go top of the table ahead of Real Madrid playing against Getafe tomorrow. 3 points back to winning ways. Let's get word from both sides of the camp, from both Daley Blind and Wojciech Szczesny.
Yeah, we get a great work effort in the team. We don't give up. We stay positive, and you saw, I think, in the first half, maybe I'm overreacting, but we could score 3 goals. And it's a pity that we don't even score 1 extra goal in the first half. But I think we deserve that. But of course, Barcelona was putting a lot of pressure on us the second half, and it's a pity that in the end, in the last minute, the goal will fall.
I think we realized that to be competitive in this league, we have to do much better. We got away with it today. I think we started the game really good, but lost control at the end of the first half, and then the rhythm of the game was rather low in the second half. But we managed to get that winner with our new number 9. So yeah, we're delighted, but as I said, there's a lot to improve. We can't play the high line if there's no pressure on the ball, and that's been our problem in the last couple of weeks. When you have no pressure on the ball, you have to drop, and we're used to having a lot of pressure on the ball, and therefore we can keep a high line. Recently we struggled a little bit, but as I said, we have to improve it. It's not that we have to change our style. We're not going to change our style. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to try to press teams very high up the pitch. But in order for that to be successful, we need to have more pressure on the ball. So it's not as easy as it has been in the last few weeks to play the ball in behind.
So Barcelona got away with it today, and they sit top of the table as they go to bed this evening. Real Madrid will be playing against Getafe tomorrow and will look to go back on top ahead of next week's Clasico coming up between these two sides, the first of the season. Luis Garcia joins us now, who was also watching this game today. Luis, obviously there's Champions League midweek, but let's focus on what's next for Barcelona. They are going to have to fix things before the Clasico.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to wait and see what Real Madrid approach not only tomorrow, but midweek and before their Clasico. They got a very important game in Champions League against Juventus, and that's something to say. So you have to manage. But for Barcelona, once again, we heard Szczesny mentioning that they get away with it today. And yes, they did, big time. Because in the first 45, and Girona's players were totally right. They could have scored 3 goals, 3v1s. Szczesny did a fantastic job. Last one, I think, is Eric Garcia, who touched a little bit and balanced the player. But again, not always because you got the high line and there is no pressure. It's because Barcelona sometimes is losing with the line of defense is very high. They are losing the ball quite easily, and then they are in a transition. And in transition, they are struggling so much, something that we've seen so far in the last year and a half, and we see that they are not changing. Yeah, they're not going to change, but they have to fix it, and they have to fix it quick, because now you get away with it because there is the start of the season, because there is still a lot of games to be played. But definitely when the big games arrive later in March is where you have to be all these situations in control. Control is what Barcelona needs right now. They can score goals, they can create, they can dominate the games, but they lose the control quite easily, and right now it's a big problem for them.
What would a better team have done to them today?
Well, it's hypothetical, but let's just go name by name. If you didn't have Vladislav Vanat and you had Kylian Mbappe instead, if you didn't have Porto and you had Vini Jr. instead, which is what will happen next week, under the same circumstances, if those chances fall to those players, more than likely Barcelona are giving up the 3 goals that Daley Blind was talking about. And so I see Barcelona as a team that had very good first 15 minutes of the match. And we were expecting, and if you're a Barcelona fan, hoping for a reaction based upon what we saw in their last La Liga match against Sevilla, in which they were embarrassed and humiliated. And you're thinking, okay, there has to be an improvement. And there was for the first 15 minutes. You're thinking, we're seeing a different side of Barcelona. We're seeing their ability to press and counter-press and regain possession of the ball higher up the field, which then negates the vulnerability of the high line. But that lasted, as I said, 1-5, 15 minutes. Beyond that, once Girona took a step forward and they started to play the ball in behind, and they started to win the ball higher up the field, and Barcelona started to lose the ball in bad areas, then all of the vulnerabilities came back, all of the issues came back, And this performance, particularly in the first 45 minutes, was no different than what we saw against Sevilla. And that's troubling because then it's not a one-off. You're seeing a trend that continues to be part of what this team has done this season, and essentially the same sort of mistakes that we saw against Sevilla, you saw today against Girona. So to answer your question, Kay, I've taken the cynic route. Better opposition with the same mistakes kill you. Better opposition with the same mistakes humiliate you. Sevilla did that a couple of weeks ago. You can only imagine what Real Madrid would do if Barcelona played at this same level as they did today.
And towards the end of the game, we did see Hansi Flick getting his marching orders, which means he won't be in the dugout at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. Here is the coach speaking after the game.
No, it's like, for me, it's like, you know, Frankie was there and I said, okay, come on, Frankie, and maybe Frankie get a yellow card. But I really, it was not an action for the referee. So, and the second one, I don't know exactly why. The celebration, well, I saw it right now. I didn't know that, okay, but at the end it was against no one. Maybe it was about our game, our performance we made, okay, maybe like that we won this, and of course then. I'm happy. I'm really happy, and I never go against anyone. So it's for me, it's football, it's emotion, and I also say nothing about the referee. Come on, it's his decision, and I have to accept it. I just what I can say. It was not against him. The clapping the hands. It was to give my team to push them and. Maybe the yellow-red card also helps them to get back in the match.
Obviously, emotions are boiling over after Ronald Araujo's goal. There was a gesture, shall we say, which is what he's referring to here. We won't repeat the gesture.
Let's just say that Hansi got a little hands.
He definitely did. What did you make of his explanation,
himself.
Luis, of what he had to say about what happened at the end there?
Yeah, it's emotions, of course. When you are frustrated because your team is not performing the way that you are expecting, when you have to wait until the last minute to get the result, and you come from a very bad result in the last game, everything together is very difficult to handle. And Hansi Flick has got a fantastic experience, and he knows what it is to be involved, but he knows what he's playing for. He knows what is on the stage. And when this kind of moment happen, you just explode, and things happening, and you move around, and in the end, I think we have to understand sometimes how heat is the situation, how the management, the players are in those kind of moments, and we have to understand that sometimes. I understand the referee; he wasn't off, he understood. So next time, we've seen Luis Enrique already managing from the stand. So I think that the Hansi Flick has got a different view for the Clasico.
What's the impact, Stevie, when a manager is not in the dugout for a game of this magnitude? El Clasico at the Bernabeu as well.
I tend to think this level, players are too busy doing their job to be thinking about whether the manager's going to be shouting at them or if he's standing on the side. You know, they're too busy engaged in the game. So I would suggest that if they were playing against the team at the bottom of the league, it would be more of a problem.
If you would have a preference, you'd rather have your manager on the sidelines and not have to go. Luis Garcia just alluded to Luis Enrique there, which he looked like a DJ a couple of weeks ago with the headphones and the thing. And so he's relaying information to this person, is relaying information to that person. So it's less than ideal. I can also tell you this. Luis is far more understanding and patient and lenient when it comes to this sort of stuff. Hansi Flick, his gestures were aggressive in nature. He may say it was celebratory. They were aggressive in nature. I don't think that La Liga is going to be nearly as lenient as Luis is alluding to here or suggesting. I think Hansi Flick is going to be suspended for the Clasico because of the red card. And there'll be an additional suspension because, again, He got passionate.
He tried to tell a nice little tale, Hansi.
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
Yeah, he was playing a game of charades that you should not get involved with, and we're not going to show you here or on the images either, but we'll see if there is any punishment that will follow that. It is El Clasico coming up next weekend. We cannot wait for Real Madrid to take on Barcelona. Our coverage will actually begin at 10 a.m. Eastern. It's on Plus, it's on ESPN 2.